Cambodia who is ready to see some temples. Today is the first day of exploring Angkor Wat. In about 10 minutes or so, my tuk-tuk driver is coming to pick me up. And then I'm gonna explore some temples for the day. I think after 2 days I will be templed out, but we'll see. I'm very excited. But first I need to get some snacks. I'm not entirely sure what the lunch situation is going to be, so I want to be prepared. I'm in a tuk-tuk and we are off. This is so exciting. I love this. We need tuk-tuk home. Like, how is this not the best thing ever? It's way better than a motorbike. So this is amazing. I think we're first gonna buy a ticket. I don't know if you can hear. And then the driver that was supposed to drive me is motorcycle road, so now his friend will drive me and hopefully he's driving me tomorrow. Welcome to the first temple. I don't think you'll get a lot of history lessons from me, but we'll see. This temple was built in the 10th century and this is a Hindu temple. This was built by the first king. It's amazing. And now we climb a bunch of stairs. I'm surprised at how not busy it is. It's not even that early. But this is what I have to climb. Let's go. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have a 20-minute video of all B-roll of these temples. This is so amazing. The views. This is exactly what I had hoped for. I mean, look at this. I will have 7,000 photos and 15 hours of footage to go through, but I think it'll be worth it. Apparently you used to be able to see the sunset here, but they closed it down because there were too many people. But look, can you imagine the sunset over this jungle behind me? That would be amazing. Right there somewhere. Also, I've kind of gone in circles and I'm not entirely sure where my driver is anymore. Or which way is out. Oops. Now I'm not entirely sure which temple is behind me right now and which one we started at, but I will put the name somewhere on the screen so you can see where we started. Just the fact that you're allowed to walk on these temples is, sorry I've got my hair, is absolutely insane to me. In Europe this would all be behind glass and locked off, and they would place footboards where you can walk on and you couldn't deviate from the path. But here, I assume in many years they might do it here to preserve it, but for now this is crazy. I mean, there are certain places where they've placed where they've built wooden stairs or placed wooden boards where you can walk on, but there's no sign saying that you cannot deviate from the path or that you cannot walk on these rocks. It's crazy. Why is nobody here? I feel like this is the must-see thing to do in Cambodia, but maybe not. I also have no idea what an appropriate time is to spend at these temples. Is my driver waiting for me here, or if I come back, is he wow, she saw everything so quickly? How long should I spend here? I mean, you could walk around here for much longer. And we do have until sunset because we're doing sunset at one of the temples, but I don't know. We'll see. My SD card in my camera allows me to take about just under 500 pictures. I think I have 450 to go. So I'm determined to stick to that and not use the second card. I will never stop being amazed by temples. I mean, maybe after 2 days of Angkor Wat I will be templed out, but this is so amazing. And the fact that they built this one was built in the 10th century. It's just crazy. But I think it's time to head back to my tuk-tuk and see the next one. Not entirely sure how long I spent here, but I think maybe I can get his reaction, see how long people usually stay at temples. But like once I've seen it, I'm like, okay, let's go. But this is amazing. I look forward to seeing the rest. I'm not entirely sure which one we are at right now, but we are doing the big circle today. So I think we're starting somewhere here. We are going around all the way there, seeing Angkor Wat, and then I think right here, sorry, this is Angkor Wat, and I think like somewhere here we are doing sunset. And then tomorrow we are doing this small route, which I don't know what it is, but we'll see. Definitely sunrise at Angkor Wat. So I've made it to East Mabon, I think that's how you pronounce it. This is also a temple built in the 10th century by the first king. And this is also a Hindu temple. And apparently the difference between a Hindu temple and a Buddhist temple, because the next temple we're going to is a Buddhist temple, is the stone. Like Hindu temples are like this color stone and Buddhist temple have a darker stone. It's very cool. This one's also called the Elephant Temple. It's got a bunch of elephants. And then of course also lions. So my guide couldn't really explain it, but apparently lions, dragons and elephants are a big deal here. And the elephants here are because there were about 3,000 elephants that carried stone from the mountain to here to build Angkor Wat. So I'm not entirely sure if that's why they built this place, or like they built this for like the elephants, for the work they did, or there's another reason, but that's really cool. My guide just told me that today, or like right now, is still rainy season. It is actually rainy season for another month or two, and I'm wondering if that's maybe why there's nobody here. I mean, there are obviously people here, but it's not crazy busy, which is kind of what I would have expected. I mean, I would still recommend coming early because it gets super hot, and I guess in maybe like high season it gets busy, so it might also be worth like arriving early. But so far it's good. I actually watched Tomb Raider again when I was sick in Semarang in Indonesia, and the vibes you get like from this place, like the both temples I've been to now are just like that. Like it's exactly what I expected and how I expected it to be. Now there is actually a temple here where they filmed Tomb Raider, which I assume we will be visiting later, but even these ones are just, it's amazing. I think I've said amazing like a million times already, but so cool. I've also figured out which temple was the previous one, and it's called Prerup. So now you know. And I think that was East Mabon. East Mabon? I don't know. I think we are continuing on to a few more temples. He said he knew a spot for lunch. It's not yet lunchtime. And I don't know how many temples we've got left. But yeah, it's been great so far. In case you're wondering how it works, so I got this driver through a recommendation from a friend of mine. Now his friend is actually driving me around because his scooter broke this morning. But like that's fine. And he just drives me to a new temple, and then at the start he's like, oh, I will tell you some information about it, and then I've got some time to explore, and he's just waiting for me. And once I'm done, I meet him by the tuk-tuk and we continue on, and he shows me where we're going next. He also gave me some water, which is really nice. And yeah, I mean, if you can do it with more people, like do it with more people, but unfortunately I didn't have anyone to go with. I asked around last night, and one girl was contemplating going, but she wanted to do the hostel tour, which is fine. I mean, entry fee for 3 days is 62 euros. No, $62 actually. So that's quite a bit. And then on top of that, I'm paying $25 for a driver. But I think technically, like, you could do it with 4 people. Like, it's to rent a tuk-tuk and a driver, but it doesn't matter how many people are going. I mean, you have to fit in the tuk-tuk, but like, I think there's space for about 4 people. So, I mean, if you're 4 people going, that's not that expensive. In case you're wondering how much the hostel tour is, the hostel tour is $20, and you're going with a bunch of people, and you're not even doing everything. I think it's like a half-day tour, So for $5 more, you've got a private tour basically, and you get to see a lot more. I thought I knew where we were going. I think this is where we started. I don't know if you can see. Is it even in focus? Maybe not. Anyways, this is East Maban. Then I think we're going to Prasad Tatsum. Not entirely sure. It is so calm and quiet here, like so peaceful. It's very cool that people do come here to pray, and apparently every new moon and another moment that I can't remember during the month, so twice a month they have a celebration. I don't know what it's for. I heard one of the guides talking. Don't quote me on any of this please, but that's amazing. It's quite hard to get shots with me in it, but I am like fairly good at taking photos of myself. Oh, that does not make me sound good, but I just know how to put down the camera, like run into frame and then just take pictures. Because I do like pictures with me in it, and I can't just ask someone to take a million pictures of me and just hope that there's one good one. So I prefer to do it myself. But I do ask people sometimes. I love how nature is just taking over. So this is actually a Buddhist temple built in the 12th century by the second king, and this used to be the house of his sister. She used to live here. The stone here is indeed darker than the previous temples, which, I mean, he did say it was Buddhist temple, and that's why it's darker stone, but really cool. It's not the Tomb Raider temple, that's for tomorrow, but this one's also really cool. A lot of it is like gone, or not gone, but like it has collapsed. But you can really see what it was supposed to be, or what it was, I guess, not supposed to be, but what it was and what it used to be. And I can only imagine, like right now this is amazing, but like full on, like just after they built it, must have been amazing. Wow, this is so cool. Look at this tree. About what I said about the elephants before. Now, Cambodia doesn't have a lot of elephants anymore, and the reason is because they export them to Thailand and Vietnam and Laos. And there's a reason, because there's a lot of landmines still like somewhere in the region, off the path, in the forest, everywhere. The thing is, elephants would step on them and then, well, you can guess what happens next. So there are not a lot of elephants here anymore, at least that's what my guide told me. But like I said before, don't quote me on any of this. Wow, look at this. Made it to the Neek something temple. I don't remember all the names, sorry. But you have to cross a bridge to get to it, and it's surrounded by water, really cool. So this is one of 3 reservoirs in the neighborhood, and the water from this reservoir comes from a waterfall nearby, and it just flows in here and then it also flows out, and the entire temple is surrounded. And from what my guide told me, or what I could understand, is that they needed water, like, so they used to drink it and they used to swim in it, and then they also have a bunch of trees where they can get fruits and stuff. So I mean, I assume nowadays they get water elsewhere, but still really, really amazing. And apparently the king that built this, which is the same one as the previous temple, had priorities like you need water, school, hospital, that kind of stuff. This is really amazing. Wow. I've said amazing way too many times. I should do an amazing count. I guess that it was not that busy because it was rainy season, but I just asked the guide and he said, yeah, it's very, very quiet right now, not a lot of crowds. So if you want to beat the crowds, go during rainy season. Like, there's no rain. Knock on wood, might be raining later, but so far so good. This like little island that I'm on right now is the one that you could see from the lake that we were at before. I will say Cambodia is already off to a very, very strong start. I mean, also I've seen the tour groups going around. There are a few. It's not like I'm completely alone. And I will say I'm quite happy that I didn't like organize or do an organized tour. I mean, it's still organized right now, but we're pretty flexible and I quite like it. There is one slight problem though. I charged my power bank, so if I needed to charge my phone or my camera, I could. However, the problem doesn't seem to be the battery, but the amount of storage. Apparently I'm going through my storage rather quickly. Alright, it's about 12 and I'm not entirely sure if we're doing lunch or another temple. The water in the previous temple, they used to believe that if you drink it, it had healing power, so it's kind of like a hospital, I guess. At least that's what my guide called it, and that's why people drink it. Now I've just made it to Prekan, which presumably is a very big temple. It's also Buddhist, and it looks really cool so far. So this temple is called Prekan. This is the temple where the king's wife lived. Oh, mind your head. But it is so big. Like, imagine as a kid just running around here. How cool would that be? I mean, even now if I was a kid, like, oh, this would be a perfect, not a perfect vacation, but like a perfect spot to explore. One thing I will say, it is way too hot to be doing this, but when else can you do it? It's always hot here, I think, so well worth it. Crazy to think that these temples took about 10 to 15 years to build. Like Angkor Wat took 37 years. They didn't have machines or anything back then, so they had to shave down each individual rock by hand. And if I look around, there's a lot of rocks. It's a lot of work. Makes it even more impressive. If you've ever wanted to feel more like Lara Croft, come here, which is obvious because, you know, Tomb Raider and the temple here at Angkor Wat, like film location, but even so, like, wow. I'm not gonna say amazing, but it is amazing. I'm gonna say it's amazing. My guide told me that some of these trees are like 200 or 300 years old. I mean, look at the one behind me. It just doesn't end. That thing is massive. There are also a bunch of carvings in the wall. I don't know if you can see it on camera. The attention to detail. Like, the attention to detail in this entire complex, like not just this temple, but all of them, insane. Wow. Lunch was amazing. I had an omelette with cheese and bread because I miss bread. And then my driver said he didn't want anything, but when I told him, like, look, it's on me, he was like, oh yeah, then I will have something. So I guess that was a money issue, which I can understand. So he had some spring rolls and he insisted I try one, so I did. And then it's a lot pricier than I thought it would be. I paid for my meal, his meal, and then he didn't want anything to drink, so I got a Coke. Paid $12, which is what I would expect to pay in the Netherlands. But to be fair, like, I am at the tourist attraction in Cambodia, I think, so kind of makes sense. I'm also lost. Made my way to Angkor Wat, which is pretty much a big complex, like a big area with a lot of small temples. And Not entirely sure. My driver said like just walk that way and I will meet you at the end. I'm not entirely sure whether or not that is somewhere I know where to find him, but we'll see. Apparently it takes an hour and 45 minutes to visit. I'm fairly certain the entire Angkor Wat complex consists of 30 temples. So I've got quite a few to go, but this one is, I think, the biggest one. And this is the place, or like the temple, that the king actually used to live in. And that's about all I know. So no more history lessons from me, I think. You used to be able to go up there, but they closed it January 1st, 2020, so pre-COVID. So I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe to restore. Can you see the face up there? Maybe if I zoom in, that's the face of the king. Or at least of the king who built this place, I presume. It's big. And like, don't bother trying to figure out a route, just get lost. That's the best way anyways. Said it before and I'll say it again. I am amazed that you can just walk on here. Like, I can just walk behind here. There's no path. You can just go wherever you want to go unless there's a sign telling you that you cannot go. Time for a much needed water break. This wall is absolutely insane. So the carvings that you just saw were about daily life in the 12th century. Which basically means that they show Tonle Lake, which is the biggest freshwater lake in all of Southeast Asia, and it's actually here in Cambodia. And that's where like the fresh water and also fishing comes from. They do a lot of fishing there. So that's what it represents. It's really cool. Now the plan is to go to the next temple if I can figure out which way to go. I did ask my driver for his number because I was like, if I can't find you, I need a way to contact you. So I have his number and I could just text him if needed. But first, a few more temples to go. I just saw my first monkey here in Asia. Really cool. Out in the wild. Amazing. Not sure where it went though. I don't want it to get too close to me. Like, I've seen the ones like in Bali where they get too close and they want to take pictures with the monkeys. Like, don't do that. If you're gonna get rabies, like, it's your own fault. Sorry, not sorry. In case you're wondering, yes, I have seen monkeys before. Never in the wild, never like this. Like, they don't just climb trees back at home. You see them in a zoo or, well, pretty much in a zoo. Now, don't get me wrong, this temple looks really, really cool, but I cannot walk that far. I cannot make it all the way there when that is the way I have to go. So, or maybe I should go, I don't know. Looks really cool. Okay, I'm just gonna walk to the entrance. I'm not gonna go up. Maybe I'm gonna go up. No, I'm just gonna walk to the entrance, look at it, and then go back, I think. So I've got a, maybe you can actually, I've got a screen protector on my camera lens. Oh, I don't want to hit my head, but I cracked it. I don't know how, maybe in my bag. I've been really, really careful with it, but I mean, I am happy that it's the screen protector and not the actual like, or like lens protector, I guess, not the actual lens. But I have a feeling that you might be able to see it on camera, but I don't know, can you? I'm trying to see if I see a difference, maybe not. But even so, if you can, then you know where it's coming from. I'm gonna review the footage later and decide whether or not I want to take it off. Like, if you can't see it, I'd rather keep it on because it protects the lens, and next time it gets cracked, it's gonna be the lens if I take it off. This is well worth going to the top, and I think I can even go a little bit higher, but first I need to catch my breath. Sadly, I cannot go up. Well, I say sadly, I don't know if you can tell from my face, but I am dripping in sweat. You can go all the way up there. So this temple behind me is the Ba Phuon temple. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But most temples here close at 5 and it's now 4:30 and I am not yet finished with my tour, so I have a feeling I need to rush. But like, this was well worth it, and well worth it going to the top. But it takes a lot of energy. I've also been bitten by an ant, which, let me tell you, I don't know what kind of ant this was, but it hurts like crazy. So I'm gonna have to check that out as soon as I get back, because I don't know if it's supposed to hurt, but I mean, Google will know. Google everything. Love Google. Saw another monkey. Now it's time to go to the next temple. I don't know how many more I've got to go. I mean, there are 30 here, but I'm not gonna see all 30, but I'm hoping I can squeeze in at least 1 or 2 more. So I just finished the top one. That one is that one right there. So I think I might skip the elephant terrace. I'm pretty sure that's the elephant temple that my guide was talking about. So let me check how far is it, which one it is. 230 meters. Might be the one here on the left. I don't know. I'm just walking around hoping for the best. I think down there is where my guide is waiting, so I've got about half an hour to go. Well, less now. I'm pretty sure this is the elephant temple. There are a bunch of elephants here in the front. You can see elephants on the side, and then there's elephants on that side. I don't know if you can see with the sun. I don't know if I'm allowed to walk here, sorry. But look how cool. And there are elephants on the side. Oh yes, you can see that the screen is cracked. Oh, damn it. I guess I'll take off the screen protector. I mean, I've got a cap that I can put on the lens. And still there's nobody else here. I mean, I understand it's almost 5 o'clock and most people maybe might have gone home or to Angkor Wat. Ooh, now that I'm thinking, what if Angkor Wat closes at 5? I think I'm gonna make a straight beeline to my driver. I mean, worst case scenario, I do it tomorrow, which I think should be possible. But it would be nice to check it out, even if it's like 10 minutes or so. I think it's pretty close to drive, and that is today. It's been an extremely long day, but so worth it. Like, if you ever want to come here, do not book like a big tour. Just hire someone local. He said that all the big tour companies, there's a new airport, so they can no longer do tuk-tuk rides to and from the airport. So that business is gone, and now the business for Angkor Wat is pretty much gone because of all the big tour companies. So, I mean, if you want his number, let me know. But like, at least this driver has been absolutely amazing, and so grateful for the work that I'm giving him, which to me is just like strange, I guess. It's well, it's well worth it to come here. It's about a 15-minute hike up the mountain for sunrise, and Mount Eacham really prepared me for this one. This is easy. Did I say sunrise? I mean sunset. But either way, I think it's gonna be good. My guide said it's gonna be pretty. You could see like with the sun, but I think it's pretty cloudy, so we'll see. There's a temple on top of this mountain where you can actually sit and watch the sunset, so you can climb the actual temple. I'm very excited. I hope it won't be too crowded. Like, there's quite a few people on the trail. Maybe they're going down before sunset. I don't know. My driver isn't actually coming up with me. He's staying at the tuk-tuk. He said he was going to sleep. So I asked him what time I had to be back, and he's like, oh no, don't worry about it. But I think as soon as the sun is down and like the colors are starting to fade, I'm gonna head back down. I don't want him to have to wait a very long time, but I'm out of breath. Maybe Mount Eacham didn't prepare me, but I think it's gonna be at least an hour or so before sunset. So, I mean, I have water and I've got snacks, but kind of also have to use the bathroom. They built like seats on top of the temple where you can sit on to watch the sunset. I can already see people sitting there, so I'm assuming there's space available, but I don't think you should get here later than this. Oh my god, this screen protector is so annoying. I'm sorry, I'm gonna take it off as soon as I get back. More stairs. not sure if you can see me right now. As I suspected, the sunset wasn't that great because of all the clouds. However, it was still nice and you get an amazing view. On the other side you can see Angkor Wat, but I don't think this one picked it up. So I think I will put in a picture if I can find one. But I mean, it was still nice. There were a lot of people. I think tomorrow morning it's gonna be busy because today like everybody did the temples in their own time and everybody like went to different ones at different times. However, this is the place for sunset, and tomorrow morning Angkor Wat is going to be the place for sunrise, which means that everybody's going to be there at the same time. But I mean, even so, you could easily find a spot today to watch the sunset. I do think, I don't know why, but that tomorrow morning is going to be busier, but we'll see. I'm gonna hike back down the mountain, find my driver, and we're gonna go back. The sun hasn't fully set yet, but I'm not gonna wait for that. I don't think it's gonna get any better than this. Plus, my driver said he would wait for me however long I needed, but I don't want him to have to wait for me, so this was my very first day in Cambodia and it was a massive success. This has been such an amazing way to spend my very first day here. I've had a great time and would highly recommend anyone needs to do this. See you tomorrow for sunrise.